we had also talked about something about the gender of an isim. And we said we only have two isms. The word is either feminine or masculine. Now this is kind of a bit confusing, but when you give it time, you're going to find out how easy it can be. Now you can ask me a question, okay, man, how can I differentiate between a masculine and a feminine isim? How can I ever differentiate these two? How do I know that this word is masculine and this word is feminine? Now, here is the trick. Number one, you can easily know that this word is masculine or feminine, even if it's a chair, even if it's a table, even if it's a car, even if it's a house. When you look at it, you can easily tell that this one must be masculine or feminine. Now, you'll say how, and this is how it's done. Number one, there are several ways of identifying a word. There are some words that are biologically feminine. Okay? They are biologically feminine. For example, if I want to say woman, if you're talking about a woman, who is a woman in Arabic? I think it's Imran. Okay. Imran. Then we can have a word like girl. We already saw this word, that a girl is bint. Then we can say daughter. Daughter is the same word as bint. Then you can say words like auntie. Auntie is girl, daughter. Words like auntie. Okay. Now look at this. When you are talking of the word girl, in your common sense, you know that this girl, this word girl, is by common sense feminine. Talking about daughter, so you cannot say, is this word daughter masculine or feminine? Or biologically, you're talking about something which is feminine. So I don't think we have to waste a lot of time here, okay? Because it's I don't know how to say it, but there are words which are biologically, when you hear of the word, I'm talking about a woman, I'm talking about a female. When you hear the word, you already know I'm talking about a woman or something female. You already know, okay? Then, two, remember we are trying to find out, how do I know that this word is feminine or masculine? Now let's look at, we are now particularly looking at feminine words, how to identify feminine words. Okay. Every isim that ends with the term malbut is feminine. Now, I see some people quitting, asking, you've introduced words that we don't even know. Okay, the word is ta marbut. Have you ever seen an Arabic word which comes and ends like this? Or it comes and ends like this? Okay, now this is a thermal boot. This is a thermal boot. It can appear, it always appears at the end of the word. So it will either be pronounced as ta or ha. Have you ever heard of the words like salah, salah? Then so when I say that it can either be ta or her, I mean we can use the word swallow as an example. If it is swallow and the swallow is ending the sentence, okay, it will take h. But if it is in the middle of a sentence, this word is in the thermal boot appears in the middle of a sentence, it will take ta. Now, for example, I'll give you an example of akimona salah, akimona salah, and salatul fajr. Okay, let me just put it here. Here you can see it well. Okay, now look at these two sentences. This one and this one. Here, the thermal boot is at the end, and on the same word, by the way, it's at the end, and because after akimuna sola, it will take this ha sound. See, it's now taking this ha sound. But now here, on the same word, sola, it is appearing in the middle because this is not the end of the sentence. This word, sola, then you have fajr. Now, it will take ta. What happens? Here you'll hear a sentence being read as swalatul fajr. Swalatul fajr. Swalatul fajr. You understand? So here it was her, but now here it is ta. So that's why we call it thermal boot. Now any word that ends with a thermal boot is female or feminine. Okay, when you look at a word, you just look at it. If it ends with a thermal boot, now just know, you don't even need to ask any questions. That's it. And you're pretty sure it's a thermal boot. You're sure that is a feminine word. Okay, so I don't know if it has sunk into your head, but now, first of all, we said if the word is biologically feminine. Now, two, if the word or ism ends with a thermal boot, and thermal boot, I've shown you how a thermal boot looks like. If it appears at the end of the word, it will appear as ha. But if it appears in the middle of a sentence on a word, it will take the sound ta. That's why I gave you this example. Here it's akimona salah. It will take a. But on this word, swalatul fajr, we have several other words that can give you this. We have several other words that can give you a feel of what we're talking about. Have you ever heard of this word? My Muslim brothers, you must know this word. What's it? It's called zakah. Zakah. Then we have another word. Just give me another word that you could talk about. Which one? Okay. I have several words, but they're running out of my head. Okay. Have you ever heard of this word when you're reading about a verse? How do you call it? Oh no, don't shame me. Aya. Aya. So, I think you can see aya. Then we have, how do you call a chapter? A chapter. Chapter. This is a verse. How do you call chapter? Surah. You see now? You see now? And several other words like we have a word like shajar, okay. Tree. You read it as shajara. We have another. There is another word which is pretty easier. Oh, we have maida. Yeah. Maida. Who knows what maida is? Maida is a table. So that's why I'm putting this on this channel. I'm putting it just aside for you, just as point of reference. You don't even have to refer your friend who hasn't had the first lessons, because even if you refer them to this, they'll still not understand. They have to first take the first lessons that I give, so they can easily understand these words. Now, when you look at these words here, we have zakah, several other words. As soon as you see that at the end there is a tamal boot, 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 you should know that this is feminine. You don't even have to ask a question. Now you look at this word here. Someone can say, how come here it appeared as this and here it appeared as this? And you're still talking about the same thing, tamal boot. Okay? This is the first thing that I talked about, that if the letters are joinable, it will appear like this. Of course, there are some words that cannot be joined to any letter. Now you look at some letters. This word ra, r, you cannot join it. You remember the letters that can be joined together and the letters that cannot be joined together. Okay, you know those lessons. Now here D, you cannot join it with another letter in Arabic. It will appear, it stands alone. You can join it from backwards, but you cannot join it up front. Now when the letter comes and it appears it appears alone, the standing is different. Of course, you know those basics. If you cannot join it, like you see here, the tamal boot will appear as this. But if the letter is joinable, now like here you see on ya can be joined, it appeared like this. But because ra or da cannot be joined, that's why it appeared like this. Now these are basics and they're pretty simple. You can easily understand them as you refer the first lessons. So that's it. Now, almost, I wish you can forget everything else and remember this. Almost all feminine isms, 75%, some people say 80%, 75% or 80% of feminine isms will end with a tamal boot. We're trying to look at these words. How can you identify a word and say this word is feminine, this word is masculine? Now almost 80% or 75 of these words, of these feminine words, will end with a ta malbut. Okay? Now this is something I want you to understand. You can forget about any other thing, but almost you'll come across all these feminine words. You see it ending with a ta malbut. You don't even need to ask. Simply know up front that this is a feminine word I'm dealing with. Now if this word is feminine, if the noun is feminine, the adjective will be feminine, the pronoun will be feminine, because you have already known how to identify these words. Now 80% or 75% of these words will appear with a ta malbut. If you see a ta malbut, then know you're talking about a feminine word. Now this is the most important thing you can ever learn about these words, to differentiate between the gender. You see a ta malbut at the end of the word, no, you are dealing with a feminine word. You don't even have to ask. Just know up front. Almost 80% of these words, of the feminine words in Arabic, will end with a ta malbut. Okay, so you don't have to ask, how can I know that this word is feminine, this word is masculine? I have said that 80% or 75% of these words will end with a ta malbut. When you understand this, I'm telling you, you're going to see everything moving so pretty easy. Now I just gave you this word, swala. It ends with a ta malbut. Now you don't even have to ask. Zakah, you see this zakah, this money is for zakah. Okay, you don't even to ask. You don't need to ask. You have already seen a ta malbut at the end of this word. Simply know this is feminine. If you don't say a ta malbut at the end, then refer to these others. Is it biologically feminine? Then I'll give you another form. How do we identify these feminine words? Now in the next lesson, I'll give you these other concepts for you to know, am I dealing with a feminine word or a masculine word? Then we remember, don't get lost. We're looking at the characteristics of every ism, and we said every ism has 4 characteristics. You'll be able to see the gender, number, i'rab, and definiteness. They are four, but so far we have seen definiteness, pretty easy. Number we shall see also pretty easy. Then gender is a bit complicated, but so easy if you offer it time. So in the next lessons we shall be seeing these other forms, some other tips that you can use